So one of the biggest challenges that comes with relocation abroad sometimes is having to leave your family behind. Guys, I have a first-hand experience of leaving my children, leaving my husband back in Africa, leaving everything behind, moving down to the UK and starting my life afresh. And I can tell you for a fact, it's not funny. Welcome guys. Hello, my name is Jane Sampson. This is my channel, Jane's Hub. I'm a healthcare worker working here in the United Kingdom. On this channel, I share things that has to do with relocation, living here abroad, living here generally. If it's something that interests you, well, go ahead and smash that subscribe button, like this video, and share. Let's share our experiences of relocation abroad. All right, guys. So in this video, it's just a sit-down video, very relaxed video where I'll be sharing my reasons why I had to abandon my children, abandon my husband, abandon everything to start a new life abroad again. Some of you know I used to live here in the UK years ago, but I had to come back as a healthcare worker. Guys, the journey is not for the faint-hearted. That's the truth. The journey is not easy. In my own case, I had a lot of reasons why I had to leave everything. I had to leave my children, leave my family, and relocate back to the UK. My employers wanted me to resume work as soon as possible. They wanted me to start as soon as possible. For my kids, my children, their passports, one of them, his passport was not ready. Of course, my husband has a job. He has his business. He couldn't just dump everything and just follow me. We had that tough decision to make. And had to leave my young children back home in Nigeria all the way to the United Kingdom. Guys, it was a very painful journey. It was painful to leave them behind. But guess what? I have my regrets, I have my pains, but I'm so glad I took that decision at that time. So one of the things you want to consider when you're relocating abroad and you're relocating with children, guys, the children don't belong, as soon as you land into the United Kingdom, the children don't belong to you alone anymore. The children now belongs to you and the United Kingdom government. Just have that at the back of your mind. So whatever you do, you need to realize that if you make a mistake or if anything goes wrong, the United Kingdom, they can send you to jail because of those children. I understood all this firsthand and I knew that I needed to prepare for my children before I come into this country. Now, owing to the fact that my company provided me 1 month accommodation, just a room, there was no way I was going to come into the room with my children. If not, I would have to go and look for a place for myself. So I just needed to maximize that opportunity. Like I said earlier, my children's visa were not ready. My husband has his job to think of. He had his business to think of and all that. But I needed to come into the country as soon as possible. Guys, if you're coming to the country, my best advice, and I tell this to anybody, is to, as much as possible, leave your children behind, especially the kids. Unless you have a lot of money that when you come in, you're going to rent an apartment, you're going to furnish your apartment, you're going to make it comfortable for them, you're going to get a car as soon as you come in. Coming with children into the UK is not for the faint-hearted. That's the truth. Because whether you like it or not, the law will make you provide for those children and make their life comfortable. Now, it was easy for me to come into the UK all on my own. I had a lot of challenges, but I could cope because it was just me. Sometimes I could come back 10 p.m. from work at midnight. I could just take my bath, drink a cup of tea, a cup of coffee, and I'll go straight to bed. But when you have children to care for, managing with them is not easy, especially as a domiciliary carer. I'll be sharing more points that I want you guys to consider and what I have to go through, the regrets, the achievement that I have to make, and how thankful I am that at the end of the day, I was able to take that very difficult decision to be here. So guys, currently in the UK, accommodation is, it's no more a child's play. One of the things you want to consider before you leave for your home country is getting accommodation in the UK. And getting accommodation currently is something else. It's now been made, it's now tougher than it used to be. So you want to ensure that you secure accommodation before you bring your children into the UK. In my own case, like I said, my employer provided me with accommodation for just 1 month. After the 1 month, I needed to sort myself out. There was no way I was going to bring my children into that kind of circumstances, even though a lot of people have been doing it. But I'm telling you, the stories that are coming out are not funny, where people are lodging with their children in Airbnb, people are being chased out of accommodations, is not funny. So my best advice would be prepare, especially for accommodation, before you arrive with your children. Guys, you also have to plan for your children's school. Here, when the children are settled in school, funny enough, recently I just heard that when they enroll in school, they come to your house to check your accommodation. Yes, they come to your house to visit you. They come to give you a very nice, soft visit. But in a way, the visit is also to come and check your environment. All right. So you want to make your home very comfortable, where the children will be very comfortable, where the children can, feel free, be themselves. So it's not something you just want to bring children into. At the end of the day, you're wondering how you want to cope with them and all that. In my own case, I had all this information at the back of my mind, and I was mentally ready. It was difficult to leave my children behind. That's the truth. It was tough. The past 7 months for me has been so tough. Yes, it's been that long. Whole 7 months being without my kids. One other factor that, I really need to consider, and everyone else needs to consider, is how to manage with your children, with your work. Guys, as a domiciliary carer, it is not easy managing with your family. That's the truth. Because as a domiciliary carer, most times you leave your home as early as 6 o'clock. You have break in between, maybe an hour, at most 2 hours break. And you don't even know when you're going to have the break, when you're going to get home. And then you have to go out again. Depends on if you're doing a long day, you have to drive out or you have to walk out again and then get home between 9 p.m. and 10 p.m. How is anyone going to manage? You might be able to manage much later when you're settled, especially if you have a spouse, but managing at the beginning, because I know what I have to struggle at the beginning, mentally, psychologically. I had days of tears. I had days of regret. I wanted to go back to my children. I just wanted to hold them. But the truth was that it's only difficult at the beginning. As you go along with the job, it gets easier. You tend to understand the terrain. You tend to understand how to manage your time. But at the beginning, it's not funny at all. And it's not the situation you want to bring children into. I was thankful that, yes, I didn't bring my children to experience all the hardship and the struggles I had to go through at the very beginning of this job. Guys, it's also important to note that the way we raise our children back home is totally and absolutely different from the way you raise them here. You are bound by law to understand that these children they have rights of their own. Back home we can do certain things we want. We can, shush the children to a corner. Here it's not like that. So I understood all this and I wanted to prepare a soft landing for my children. I wanted to prepare a soft landing for myself. My husband and I came to an agreement to say, you know what, if we're going to do this, we need to prepare ourselves. We need to prepare these children into what we are going into. You can't just come into this country and then you tell the child to shush or just shush the child. No, it's against the law. They have rights of their own. So as you're coming in with your children, you also need to know how to protect your children from some of these rigorous laws and regulations. If not, the social services is out there for you. You can't just leave your children in school, they close, and you say, oh, I'll go and pick them at my convenience. If you do that, you're going in for it. These are things you want to consider. These are things you want to think about. These are things I sat down and I said to myself, I'll rather leave them for a short period of time, go through this whole struggle, get ready, we prepare, my husband and I, and then we are ready and face what is ahead of us. Okay, so to the very big one. One of the things I really, really regretted or I missed is the companionship from my spouse. So guys, no matter the kind of relationship we have with your spouse, when you are away, that is when you will understand, that is when you will appreciate your spouse a lot more. Now, it's not been easy for my husband back home in Africa because he has to juggle the role of being the dad, the role of being the mom. It's not been easy on him at all. And honestly, I really, really appreciate him. Thank you, sweetheart. Thank you for all you're doing. Thank you for all you have done for the family. I appreciate you. We both had to make sacrifices on our both end back home in Africa because he has to juggle the role of being the dad, the role of being the mom. It's not been easy on him at all. And honestly, I really, really appreciate him. Thank you, sweetheart. Thank you for all you're doing. Thank you for all you have done for the family. I appreciate you. We both had to make sacrifices on our both, and it's all for the better good. But the truth is, you will definitely miss your spouse. Now, I'm very privileged to have a husband that does virtually everything for me, to fall in the car, to doing even things around the house. So I've had days where there are so many things I could not even do for myself. I've had days where my driving my car has issues and I have to call him on the phone. I don't know what's happening to this car. And you have to tell me, okay, do this, do that, do that. Guys, you will miss companionship. I missed his presence. I miss him, calling him at the slightest thing to come and do something for me. I miss telling him, there are days I'll call him on the phone and I will cry and cry. Those days are there. Those days will come. That's the truth. And, loneliness is another thing you also have to deal with in this country. Guys, that is why I tell people, when you come in, look for support system. Some of you will say, hey, I don't want to mix up with Nigerians, I don't want to mix up with Africans, but you're only doing yourself. If you have a support system, you have people you can call, even when you are down, even when you've had a bad day, you have people you can call and say, oh, I'm having a bad day, this is what has happened to me. The person can just provide succor. I've had friends, my colleagues, that I can go into their room and have a good cry, and they just hold you and say, it's okay, everything is going to be fine. If not, depression is real in this country, because nobody sends you. You will cry and cry your eyes out. Nobody wants to know. Everybody's carrying their problem. So having a good support system in this country, when you must not be friends with people, but if you're colleagues with them, you can confide in them, you can let them know your struggles, you can have people you speak to that will carry you along while you're going through this struggle. Because in this country, depression is real, loneliness is real, the cold is another real. So get ready, all right? Guys, so my biggest regret leaving my family behind is the fact that I had to leave my young kids. My children are quite young. I had to leave them behind for this stretch of period of time. But like I said earlier, for you to get to where you want to get to, sometimes you have to make sacrifices. So one of the sacrifices I've had to make in my relocation journey was to leave my children behind, was to leave my husband behind. It's not easy as well, leaving a man behind for this long. Well, thank God for the kind of man I have. I'm very grateful. Leaving my children behind has not been easy. For the very first few weeks I arrived, I still wake up at midnight because I used to wake up to go and toilet my young boy. I still wake up and I feel like going to, I still had that urge. There were days where my children fell ill and I was so far away. It was so emotional for me. Throughout that period, I would just be emotionally, and it affected my work. That's the truth. I'm a mom. And one particular experience that really, really broke me, guys, this particular day, I was so broken. So it's a very short and interesting story. I called thank God for WhatsApp, thank God for WhatsApp. Thank God that we can connect via WhatsApp. Thank God for the internet. It made it a bit easier for me. But on this particular day, I called my family, I called my children. I was speaking to them as usual. And my little boy, the youngest one, he just came up and said, Mommy, I want to ask you something. I want to tell you something. I said, he keeps saying that, I want to tell you something. I said, what do you want to say? And he said to me, and the words just came out of his mouth. And he said, Mommy, why did you leave us? Guys, I could not believe my ears. Now, prior to my leaving, of course, I sat my children down. I told them Mommy was leaving. I explained why I was leaving. And even while I've been here, they know I'm here. I've been explaining, Mommy here to work. Mommy's here to, try and make a better life for us. So I was wondering where that came out from. I was wondering what he has been thinking. I was wondering what has been going through his mind. Guys, I couldn't continue with the call. I cut the call and I broke down and wept. Yes, that for me was the day I actually regretted. I was like, God, what have I done? What is happening to my son? I had to call my husband. Is he being bullied at school? It was so emotional. If I tried that day, I couldn't do anything else. In fact, my husband had to make him call me back, on the phone to say, oh, Mommy, it's fine. I was only joking. But the truth was that hit me so hard. I was like, why would my son think I left them? Guys, that was the day I had the biggest regrets. I was like, oh my God, what have I done? What's happened to my children? Oh God, it's such a long time. How am I going to get his affection back and all that? But like I said, these are the sacrifices we have to make, for us to build a better life for our children. So if you're coming to the UK, you're here in the UK, think about these things. You have to know how to create the balance. You have to know what exactly you want to do, make the right decisions. It can be tough leaving your children, especially as a mother, but the truth is, it's only for a while, and it's for a better good. Depends on your own goals and depends on your own aspirations. So guys, I hope you got value from this video. Well, this is just a sit-down video just to share my experience of why I relocated without my family, how the challenges I've had to deal with. It's not been easy, that's the truth. Without being with your children, I've missed their birthdays, I've missed their days going to pick them up from school. I've missed going to, run around with them. I've even missed shouting. I've missed raising my voice at them, shouting all over the house. I've missed things like that. But like I said, it's only for a little while. Hopefully very soon we'll have them all together and we'll be one big happy family again. I hope you got value from this video. If you're still watching, go ahead and subscribe. It's your girl Jenny. I'll see you guys in my next video. In my previous video, I shared about the struggles that I have to deal with as a domiciliary carer. If you have not watched the video, I'll link it at the end of this video. Go ahead and watch it to give you an idea of challenges that you will face as a healthcare worker. Take good care, and I'll see you guys in my next video. Bye-bye.